The level of insecurity in Nigeria keeps growing and is gradually getting to the point when people will find it hard to move from point A to B if the government doesn't act fast. Terrorists are getting really bold to the extent of attacking the convoy of President Muhammadu Buhari, killing and injuring his security personnel in the process. As if that wasn't bad enough, bandits have attacked Kuje Correctional Facility in Abuja, releasing hundreds of inmates in the process. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Dr. Shuaib Belgore, has said over 600 of the inmates fled the prisons when it came under attack. Belgore stated that those behind the attack were Boko Haram terrorists who came specifically for their members held in custody. He, however, said about 300 had been recaptured, while 300 were still at large. Joining us on the show this morning as we discuss these events that took place less than 48 hours ago is Chidi Omeje. Welcome to the morning show. Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me today.
Thank you for joining us. So, Chidi, let's get straight to it. We've had this superficial change of nomenclature from prison service to correctional services. Beyond that, what changes have been made in that system, in that correctional system, to prevent these incessant jailbreaks?
Nothing significant has changed. Absolutely nothing. It's still the same old story of inefficiency and outright carelessness. And I don't know how to describe it. Look, just like every other Nigerian, I'm outraged that we're having back-to-back, infraction of security of correctional measures, prison facilities. It is a terrible thing what we've just seen. This particular breach on Kuje prison is one too many. I begin to wonder how come it is possible that we are allowing stuff like this to keep happening back to back. Now, the most concerning issue to worry about is the fact that we are hearing that high-risk individuals are kept in a medium security facility such as Kuje. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no rigors or thoughts put into place in terms of how do we forestall recurrence of security infraction in our holding facilities. You have to understand that prison what do you call it, prison facilities, and now it's called correctional facility, is at the heart of our security architecture, because every other convicted criminal, every other person must find an abode in the prison. You have terrorists, you have bandits, you have kidnappers, you have political, guys, everybody lumped in there. So prison is something we can't afford to travel with. So I'm outraged, like every other Nigerian, that we are having this incident, this issue again, once again in our country. I feel bad, I feel sad. So as far as I'm concerned, back to your question, nothing has changed. It's still the same old, story. So that's it, Chidun.
Chidi, can I ask you, why put terrorists in a medium security prison?
It is shocking to me. I mean, it's no brainer that you don't put such high-risk terrorists in a medium prison facility such as Kuje. That's another one. Secondly, you know that Kuje is in the heart of the FCT. You know that these terrorists have the capacity to do the kind of thing they have done. You know that if there's any breach, you have the seat of government very close to Kuje. You know that FCT is very strategic to this country. How do you, I don't understand it. How do we end up having Boko Haram terrorists, ISWAP terrorists, and Sado terrorists all lumped in right there in the medium security facility, when we have maximum security facility in Kirikiri, in Agodi, in Gashua, and elsewhere where you have maximum security? What are they doing here? And let me tell you something that is intriguing to me. I have it in good authority that some of these chaps arrested in the Southeast, these IPOP guys, have flown to different all manner of maximum security facilities across the country, high securities, but you are bringing in terrorists to be in Abuja, lumping them together with politicians like the likes of Joshua Dariyes, Abba Kiaris, and these low-risk inmates. It doesn't make sense to me, and I'm sad that we are back to this kind of conversation again. I feel bad. So I think that something is happening. We need to find out what's really happening. What led to the fact that we have these guys in this kind of place? I feel sad about it, Rufai.
What do you make of President Muhammadu Buhari's response, publicly expressing his disappointment in the turn of events? How could the terrorists have done this? How did they get to organize all of this, and how did they get away with it? What do you make of that, and what do you expect to happen from that statement?
When I saw the tweet, actually saw the statement first from the tweet, tweeted by one of his aides, and I felt amused to start with, because the president was like wailing, like some of us. He was, showing outrage, and I think that this time does not call for outrage from the CNC. It calls for decisive, pronouncements. I also know that he said he expects a full report. But of course, you and I know that report will be garnished by the guys who ought to have done something better. So, but what I'm trying to say is that I hope that the president's outrage will translate to, or rather will lead to, heads rolling. This is the time for heads to roll. Somebody has to pay for this kind of infraction, this kind of embarrassment, this kind of risk that he has put the FCT into. Somebody has to pay for it. Heads got to roll. And another thing about the statement that he talked about, the inefficiency of our security intelligence asset. He complained bitterly. He wailed. That's now the popular statement. He wailed seriously about how ineffective, how ineffectual the security architecture of security community has been. And this, most of the number of times I've been in this studio, I've talked about the fact that the issues we have in this country, the security problem we have in this country, must be dealt with, but it has to be done intelligence-driven. Look, you are dealing with asymmetric issues. You are dealing with guys who can spring up from nowhere. You don't know who they are. They don't wear uniform. There's no clear demarcation. So what do you do? How do you go about them? It has to be done through robust intelligence. It has to be done through coordination and synergy between all the intelligence assets we have in the country. We have the DSS, you have the NIA, you have the DIA, you have, of course, the military intelligence, you have all manner of intelligence facilities, even the police. How come we're not able to nip this in the bud? How come that every day we keep talking about these things? So I'm very happy that the president has come to say that he was disappointed about the intelligence, because some of us were talking about it. It does appear that probably we're just talking for talking's sake. But now the CNC has re-echoed our concern that the intelligence community are not effective. So I think it's about time they set up. And let me also tell you, Tudun, that the kind of intelligence we're talking about now is not just only going to be from the intelligence communities alone. Time has come for us to apply what we call all of society approach to dealing with international security challenges. What this means is that time has come for every segment of the society to be part of this whole effort, because it's all about information. We see something, you say something. If you see something, you pass it over to those who are concerned, and they will process it into actionable intelligence that will help to nip it in the bud. So I think that we need to do more in terms of intelligence gathering in this country. We need to do more. We need to fund our intelligence community more. If they're not being funded, I don't know whether they're well funded, but we need to make sure that they sit up and do the work they ought to be doing for us. That's what I think, Rufai.
How maximum is our maximum security prison in Nigeria?
How maximum? Say it again. Yes. I didn't get the question.
How maximum in terms of security is even the so-called maximum security prison in Nigeria?
I get your drift. Oh well, I mean, it's left for you and I to conjecture. How maximum is it? How even effective, or rather, how protective are the measures, even the one you call maximum security. But the difference there really is that the maximum security, the maximum prisons are meant to harbor high-risk individuals like terrorists. But the medium security facilities is where you can keep low risk individuals. like political, you know, like some of these corrupt politicians and everything. That's why you expect to keep medium. That's why you expect to be kept in the medium facilities. But the maximum security facilities is where, you know, these terrorists should be kept. So it beats the mind how come we ended up having terrorists in the medium facility in the heart of Abuja. So it's to answer your question, I do not know how secured even that those maximum ones are, but the fact that have been designated that they are where you can keep those ones. After we have the likes of Itaoke, somewhere in Lagos, our own equivalent of Guantanamo Bay. How come we are not making adequate use of such facilities for this kind of hardened criminals? Why are we bringing them into the heart of the community, heart of the city? Now we have this kind of infraction, and I understand that about 63 of them are on the loose into the society. Unsuspecting people will have to run into this kind of guys. It's dangerous, Rufai. It's a bad development, I must tell you, Rufai.
Well, it's been suggested that some of those terrorists were being kept in Kuje prison because they were part of a de-radicalization program. And yet, at the first opportunity to break out of jail, they did just that. What does that say about our de-radicalization program for terrorists and how effective it is so far?
It just tells you that it's not well coordinated. There are not much rigors or thoughts given into it before bringing them to here. I understand that that's what they call Operation Safe Corridor. Somewhere in, I think in Gombe State or so, where they are keeping, radicalizing these surrendered and captured Boko Haram guys that they want to de-radicalize. I never knew that Abuja is equally hosting this de-radicalization program. I don't know how they managed to, bring those guys here in Abuja, but I thought that they have a particular facility in Gombe State, where they are doing that particular, what they call Operation Safe Corridor. So the fact that the ones in Abuja were able to escape or were able to, give us this kind of condition means that it's not. The whole thing is a mess. I think I should expect them to, to think it all over again and probably take them away from Abuja. Take them to isolated facilities where they will be secured, make sure that they will not, break loose into the society. So to me, to answer your question, I think that the whole measure, the whole reconstruction process in Abuja is a farce. There are no much thought given into it. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. They shouldn't have been kept in Abuja in the first place. And I don't know. It's actually now that I ever knew that they are doing the reconstruction process in Kuje. How come it's happening there? Kuje is a medium security facility. So how come they are doing that kind of thing there? So I feel bad about it.
Okay. I was watching on television yesterday, just like millions of Nigerians. I was watching a Rise TV when President Muhammadu Buhari visited the site of the incident. And I saw a lot of people walk through police cordon lines. What's happening? Why can't people walk through cordon lines?
It just tells you the whole, how disorganized we are, how these security guys don't pay attention to minute details that actually could matter. I mean, even the security of the president could have easily been breached in the way I saw what you're talking about. I saw the video too. You saw how people are clustered around this president. I saw how the entire cordon off area were just breached, outrightly. So it gives you an idea how careless our security measures are, how they don't pay attention to stuff like this, and at the end of the day, you have the result we're having now. So, Rufai, I feel concerned too. I saw what you're talking about, and it's laughable. I mean, these guys are making us a laughing stock in the international community. The way we do our things, it's incredible.
I'd like you to comment on what this jailbreak portends for security in Nigeria and what can be done to tighten it, because it's clear that the terrorists were not broken out of jail to sit around and have a picnic. They clearly have some kind of untoward plan afoot. What can be done at this point by our security agencies so they don't wait for disaster to strike and then start scrambling around as usual?
Well, that's the whole idea of being proactive. We have seen how the country was taken unawares by this particular infraction. I should expect that, given the gravity of the situation we find ourselves, by this particular infraction, that they will go out of the way to make sure they recapture them. But I don't know how possible that would be, because we're talking about terrorists who are actually very intelligent, who are well coordinated, who know what they want. So I also want to believe that the situation we find ourselves, we should make some people to sit up. There's a need for a robust synergy between and among the military, the security, and the intelligence and response agencies. There has to be a collaboration that is effective. You see, because from my experience, you see that there's a natural, a rivalry between these guys, in spite of all the talks about synergy. They hardly share intelligence, they hardly cooperate. There's always this superiority contest. So at the end of the day, confuses the society, embarrasses the government, and put the country at a very big risk. So now that we have this ugly situation, staring at our face, I think that it's not that this government we have, this president we have, is not the type that is quick to fire people. Otherwise, I expected that there has to be a thorough overhauling of these things, so to have fresh up guys who are much more interested in the work than gallivanting around with sirens and everything in the city, disturbing everybody, when at the end of the day we get nothing in return. But that's not to say that efforts are not being done. But I'm trying to say that the kind of security challenges across the country has come to a state where the government should be deliberate in devoting the whole attention to finding effective solution. Time has come for them to galvanize the community, the entire country. And that can be possible when Nigerians actually see the commitment, sincerity of purpose from the part of government. So we cannot just keep saying Nigerians should cooperate when we are seeing glaring lapses that shouldn't have been happening. So children, I'm concerned as you are, and I do hope that they should sit up now, knowing that we are at a very big risk. You have Northeast assailed by Boko Haram and its ISWAP. You have the Northwest now, where the bandits have transformed to clear terrorists, and of course there are infiltration of Boko Haram guys into Northwest. You have the North Central also, where Boko Haram guys are actually operating in Niger State and a number of places. You have Kogi State now being threatened by Boko Haram elements. Now we're talking about Abuja again. Then we have attacks on our marital asset in the South-South. Then we have violent separatist agitators in the Southeast. So there are so many things that the government should understand, that time has come for a serious soul-searching, serious thinking about what to do. If it means increasing the boots on the ground, if it means recruiting more troops, security forces, then it has to be done. If it means increasing our eyes and the air, time has come for us to do that. If it means recruiting more policemen, because to start with, I'm beginning to question exactly what Nigerian police doing for us at a time like this. When you have a police force that about 45% of the entire strength have been devoted to VIP protection, then you have about 20% working in the offices and stuff. Then you have just about how many people remaining to police our communities. So what do you expect? This is what we're getting. So we have to reorganize our internal security operations mechanism to be able to have effective, security measures. What we are having now is outright disorganization that is giving us the nerves. So I think that time has come for the Office of National Security Advisor to live up to its billing. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
What should we be telling residents of Abuja now? Because while we're speaking, the U.S. mission just brought out an alert in Abuja saying people should be careful that the attacks in the Kuje prison, the proximity of the prison to the Central Business District, CBD in Abuja, is just 27 miles. What should we be telling Abuja residents now to do?
I think every person here in FCT who, I'm sure there's nobody who is not aware of what's happening. We have to be very careful. This is not the time to stay late night. This is not the time to give people lifts if you don't know them. Keep your goodness for now, at least for some time now. This is not the time to be in crowded places. This is not the time to be careless about your personal security measures. This is a time for people to be very introspective, time for people to actually listen to the advisory of government. How I wish we had effective NOA, a national orientation agency. If we had something very effective, this would have been time for it would have been an opportunity for them to educate Nigerians on what to do. But I think, to me, as far as I'm concerned, that agency is moribund. So we don't. So, but if we are going to help ourselves, we have to tell ourselves the truth that this is not a good time for Nigerians in FCT and, of course, anybody in the FCT. I saw that advisory by the US, and it's quite concerning that our country, look at the number of states they mentioned. Look at the number. So it does appear that almost the whole country have been blacklisted for security infractions. So it's worrisome. So anybody in FCT should understand that times are precarious. We have to take security measures seriously. You don't have to be careless about it. And I'm hoping that the government should be able to galvanize the community, the entire citizenry to be more security conscious. This is the time for it, Rufai.
Is this linked in any way to the Kaduna train attack? Because the terrorists asked the federal government to release prisoners, and now prisoners have been freed by force. And secondly, who should be sacked for this travesty?
I think, yesterday I saw a report, I saw rather the update by ISWAP people, taking responsibility to that particular attack. I know that there's a distinction between ISWAP and Boko Haram, even though they both have the same objective of decimating our country. But even in Northeast, they're always at loggerhead. So, but I understand that the guys that carried out that Kaduna train attack were Ansaru, the one they call Ansaru faction of these terrorist guys. So I do not know if they are working together to have done this. But if they claim by ISWAP to go by, I want to believe that it was actually done by, because ISWAP have a way, they have a signature to all their attacks. Whatever they do, they lay claim to it, and they will show you proof to it. They even show some clip of videos to show that they are actually the ones that carried it out. So I do not know if there's a nexus between these guys and the Kaduna train attack. But we all know also that part of the conditions given by those guys, the guys holding the hostages in Kaduna, is that their commanders should be released. So I do not. Probably they are working in cahoots. So maybe there's actually a link, but that will be left to be seen as the day goes by. But then asking me about who will be sacked, I'm not here to mention any names, but the government knows who are responsible for what. But of course we know that there has been back-to-back prison breaks. There has been complaints about ineffective intelligence operations. There has been a talk about lack of synergy between and among these agencies. So it is left for the government to sit down and say, look, how come our prisons have always been attacked? From Abuja to Suka to Port Harcourt, a number of places that prisons have been attacked, especially since the current leadership of the agency came in. And then, of course, the intelligence community. There's not much coordination. We're not seeing results. But I heard somebody, when I took one of them up sometime, I was doing my report, they said, you are complaining about the ones that did not, the one that went wrong. What about the thousands that are forestalling? Well, that is their word against us. I do not know how they go about it, but the point is that the country is really under insecurity, and we expect that, given the fact that we have robust intelligence assets in the country, we should be able to have robust results. So we can't afford to have, pay them, have a lot of these agencies called themselves intelligence agency. At the end of the day, we suffer intelligence deficit. So I think that it's left for the government to know who to hold responsible, but I've just given you an idea about where these problems are coming from. I'm not here to say this or that, but I'm here to tell you that there are areas in our security architecture that are not effective, and that is what is giving us this problem we are seeing now. That's what I think, Rufai.
Do we have CCTV cameras in our correctional facilities?
We do have. We actually have in this Kuje. We actually have. But what you ask me is it functional? Is it functioning? Are they functioning? At the time, that is a good question because I do not know. I mean, it's not just about camera. How much are they doing the recording? Because the whole idea is to record, to give them idea of if it's an intrusion or if it has happened already to see what actually happened. But I know that I've been there a number of times and I've seen all those things, the paraphernalia of CCTV. But you do not know whether it is functional. I've not been to their server room to know whether it is working, but I know that I've seen stuff like that. And I expect that in this modern world, that CCTV should be the least of technological stuff we should have in such facility. CCTV is a commonplace stuff. It's not a big deal. How come we're even talking about it? It's the least of
most correctional centers, yeah, it's the least. But do most correctional centers in Nigeria even have CCTV cameras? Do they? We know it's the least.
It's quite concerning. I'm not sure.
So most of them don't have CCTV cameras.
I cannot stand here and say they have.
Oh, you can't confirm if they have or not.
I agree with you.
And their correctional centers and their security prisons, and you can't confirm if they have CCTV cameras or not.
No, I can tell you for sure that if you go there, you will see those camera stuff. You can spot them. But what I cannot confirm is whether they are working, whether they are functioning, or whether they are giving them the sort of support they needed to help them to do their work effectively. So one thing is to have it, another thing is to make it functional. So I cannot confirm that because I don't work with the correctional facility people.
I'd like your comment on the Kaduna train attacks. I'm going back there because it's now 100 days since that attack occurred, and it's now been reported just in the last few hours that the abductors are threatening to kill the people that they have abducted. Recall, of course, that 8 people were murdered in cold blood, at the site of the attack. What's your comment on this and the fact that this situation continues to linger in this manner?
Each time I think about our compatriots being held for over 100 days, it's actually 101 days today, being held in such terrible condition for reason that they don't know anything about. I feel so terrible because these are our compatriots, like I said. I read something yesterday. Somebody was saying, I think the spokesman of the Sheikh Gumi, he was telling Nigerians how his efforts to reach out to government to ensure that these guys were released or give them about 10 of their commanders to now release the abducted Nigerians. But that the government, the agencies concerned or the government offices concerned were not paying attention to what we were talking about. So I'm saying that if only we are well coordinated, there's no reason why 100 days in the forest with terrorists is a terrible thing to do. And as a Nigerian, as somebody with blood running in my veins, I feel for them, I feel for their families, I feel terrible, and I'm hoping that we'll get around the situation. Now, people are trying to draw a link between what happened in Kuje to the Kaduna incident. Maybe tomorrow they could release, if they have gotten their guys in Kuje, I pray they'll release our people they're holding. If they are the same people, they're holding them. So we only hope that the guys, the poor people held in captivity for more than 100 days today, which will get respite, that God will intervene. Since the government not really paying very much attention, as far as I know, so I think we have left it to the realm of divinity. Maybe God will, in His infinite mercy, will come to their aid. But I mean, I feel bad each time I think of the women and children kept there, languishing there, under terrible conditions and the trauma they are going through, and not talk about their family members who do not know what will happen the next day. So it calls for sober reflection. It calls for everybody to, put them in prayers and urge government to see what they can do to get these guys out, because they are just compatriots whose only crime was that they entered government-owned train and ended up in 2 hours journey has now translated to 100 days of anguish, trauma, and uncertainty. It's a horrible thing to do.
Okay, could over-congestion of the Kuje prison be a problem? Because we hear that the prison has a lock-in capacity of 560 inmates, but there are over 560 people in the prison, in Kuje prison. Could over-congestion to be a factor?
No. Yes, it is a big factor. I mean, the facility is actually meant to have about 550 inmates. But we have, what they have there is more than 1,000 inmates. So the congestion is actually mind-boggling. It's terrible. You can picture in what people are going through. The low-profile inmates, really, because I know that the high-profile politicians out there, they're having a ball in there. Did you hear that they kept some millions that they're not been declared missing? So what are millions doing? And they said it belongs to inmates. They have money in dollars and in naira. They have gadgets, and of course the correctional officers have now said, look, the whole thing is missing. The bandits have stolen them. So what I'm trying to say is that congestion is a factor, is a big issue, because you won't be able to actually handle them properly because they're over congested, and things are happening there. How come they have phones in there? How come they are able to communicate? So it means that people can be in there and actually plan stuff like this right from there inside the bowel of the holding facility. It's a terrible situation. I think that there's a need for total overhaul of our, the entire correctional facility system in this country, because what is happening is incredible. Rufai, you don't need to take a trip to any of these prisons and see the conditions of inmates there across the country. Not just Kuje. Kuje is even a better place. You go to medieval holding facilities like the Gashuas of this world, like in the one in Abakaliki, in Nsukka, in Enugu, in Port Harcourt, across the places. I mean, we have seen other climes how prisoners can be transformed in the facilities, but that's why our own quickly say they are not correctional. But are they actually correctional? How many of these guys came out from that place? You can say they came out a better person. Yeah, most of them come out worse than they were before they even go in there, because they were going to mix with all manner of people in a very congested environment. That is a breeding ground for criminalities and stuff. So our holding facilities in this country is nothing to write home about. It's about time the government become intentional about reorganizing the entire stuff. If it means changing the entire management of that, I don't mind, so that we get it right. So we can't afford to have back-to-back, infraction in our present, and you think that things will be all right for us as a country. It's not done. Okay, look at what happened in Owerri. Remember, Rufai. Of course, you know that the crime and criminality spiked extensively immediately after that breach of Owerri prisons. Yeah. You release bad guys into the society. Yeah. Guys who don't care, who don't have any compunction. So it's incredible. It's a terrible situation. I must tell you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you for your time, Chidi Omeje. It's been good talking to you.